Welcome back, everybody, to episode 5 of Window to the Soul. We are under what appears to be an interrogation light. Super exciting. Mr. Phillips had the helm last week, and now I'm back in the seat. It feels good. We're here with Thomas Wiley. Thomas, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Bro, absolutely. When we started the show, we knew we wanted Mr. Wiley on. Mr. Wiley, could you explain... If you were an Uber driver, we're going to start with this question. I want to make it a common thing. How would you explain to an Uber driver what you do here at Richmond Window?
Oh man, this is pretty easy, and I was thinking about this. I would say I provide opportunity. Provide opportunity.
What kind of opportunity do you provide?
The opportunity to be great.
Ooh.
The opportunity to be great. But if you take that snippet out of our core values, being a difference maker, let's put it all together, and let's say I provide opportunity.
You provide opportunity.
To be a difference maker.
Specifically, so you provide employment opportunities here at Richmond Window.
I do.
That's awesome. That's a good way to put it. And when did you start here at Richmond Window?
So I started December of last year.
Okay.
I was working at another company, obviously, and I got a call from Steve Began. I was doing business development, and he called me talking about how to recruit some more sales representatives. And I got to talking to him, and we had a talk, and then I think 3 months later, which was right around November of last year, we had another conversation, and finally I started doing my research and looking into the company, and I seen that they were looking for a talent acquisition specialist. So I was like, well, I felt like I was doing really good, and I enjoyed what I was doing, but I wanted to get back to that, personal recruiting and where my skills were for so many years prior to that. And so finally I texted him and reached out. I was like, hey, man, you guys need a recruiter. And one thing led to another. I sent him my resume and then talked to Lucy and then talked to Paige and Paul. And I was on board. So
yeah,
that's how it all panned out.
I remember when I first came into the company, you were my first phone call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I saw your LinkedIn page and it said it was like, you were in the Marines?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, it said former U.S. Marine. I wanted to make sure I got it correctly. And I was like, oh, man. Because usually you think of a very tough guy. You are a tough guy, but you were so personable that you got on the phone. I was like, Steve. Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. Yes, Mr. Wiley. You were you're the natural for the job.
I appreciate that. It wasn't always like that. Yeah. I mean, until I, jumped into recruiting duty in the military, I was your standard fleet Marine that just wanted to deploy and do hardcore things all the time. So, but it was really a skill that was developed over many, many years in fighting myself.
Yeah. You said fighting yourself. What do you mean?
Fighting myself. I mean, so I had gotten off my second deployment, and I was actually being scheduled for a third. So I went to Iraq in 2006. I went out on the USS Pearl Harbor in 2007. And when I got back from that deployment, our unit was being slated to go to Afghanistan. So that was just the deployment rotation at the time. And I got voluntold, so we say, in the military for recruiting duty. And that was the last thing that I wanted to do, man. There was nothing in me that wanted to go and talk to high school kids and meet people and talk about, hey, the Marine Corps is a great opportunity, even though I knew it was, and it was for me. It was like, okay, well, the communication skill here is not where I was 22 at the time. So,
wow.
So that's where I fought myself. When I got out on recruiting duty, I was like, okay, I have to fight with, my being uncomfortable doing this position and figure out a way to be effective at it. So,
right. What did you find out, like, in the effectiveness? What worked?
We had a pretty serious sales training that we went through when I was in recruiter school. But, what I found was they can teach you a script. They can show you steps to having a conversation or in sales, because it was sales-based. Military recruiters go through sales training. And really what it came down to was just having a conversation and trying to find common ground with people. You go to a high school and it's kind of weird being back in a high school setting and stuff like that. But just finding common ground with these kids and trying to understand and uncover what they want to do after high school was really where I enjoyed what I was doing and started getting good at it. But at the same time, having pride and being able to provide these kids with, direction.
Yeah.
If they were looking for something bigger and, how many opportunities do people have after high school, right? You have technical school, you have college, you have military, family businesses and things like that. But I was the kid in high school that, college wasn't for me at that point in time. So I was looking for something different, where's the structure and being able to point me in the right direction. And I think that's what you have to do as a recruiter is just find common ground and communicate with families and be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest. And I turned out to be really good at it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The last time I had experience with a recruiter, he just approached me abruptly in Target while I was working at Target. He tried to get me to come on. Was that your strategy?
One of them, yes. We called that area canvassing. It's one of them things where, you step into a recruiting office and your boss is like, hey, I need you to go out and talk to 10 new people today. And you're like, what? About what? So you're
whatever you can think of.
You're just thinking in the back of your mind, okay, I'm going to go and walk up to 10 random people and say what? Hey, do you want to be a Marine? That doesn't work,
right.
because you're automatically going to run into an objection. But no, that's how we did it, man.
Yeah.
And you never knew what you were going to run into. I've done that as a recruiter and was successul in putting people in the Marine Corps that way.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think about.
Absolutely. What do you think? Why do so many people object?
It's a lot of skepticism. It's a lot of misunderstanding. The majority of your population is going to have a good a plan set out for themselves for why they don't want to join the military, which is great. It's a voluntary force, right? So, but the other part is they don't understand all the things that are involved in what you can get out of a career in the military. It's the common misconception, I think, is we all go into the infantry, and then when things hop off in the Middle East or whatever the case may be, you're going to be the first ones in, and you could die, and it's not necessarily all those things. It is that is a big part of it, but it's not all that. So there's a lot of things you can get out of the military with, quite honestly, without even seeing combat.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of Marines and Army and sailors and soldiers that have done 20 years and never seen combat. So yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, there's much more than the fear of fighting. I'm sure is definitely there. I know for me, in this generation, I think people are really scared of that.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's so much to learn internally.
There is.
Yeah. What was your experience post? What did you learn about yourself following your service?
A lot.
Yeah. You can just briefly touch on it.
Yeah. No. So, I was 18 when I went in, and just wanted to conquer the world.
Yeah. As every 18-year-old does.
Right. Just wanted to conquer the world. But at the same time, I had a small glimpse of feeling proud that I was out on my own at such a young age.
Yeah.
And trying to make a life for myself. But, no, I made a lot of mistakes and tried to make the best opportunities available to myself while I was in the military. But what I learned about myself was, just being able to push past, being uncomfortable. And many, 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 many times was I put in uncomfortable positions in the military that I had to try and overcome.
Yeah.
We had anything from going to recruiter school and being put on a platform in front of hundreds of people to going overseas and not knowing what to expect. To personal relationships, family relationships, coworkers, meeting friends, how you impact your community. So it was definitely rewarding. I would never go back and change my past and my time in the service.
Absolutely. What were your parents' initial thoughts when you told them you were going off?
Yeah, they were on board with it, but I do remember I got approached by the recruiter when I was a senior in high school, And I was always thinking about the Navy prior to that. And, so when I met this Marine recruiter, he started telling me all this cool stuff. And I was like, I'm sold, man. Like I know college isn't for me. And so I went home and I said, hey, Mom and Dad, I need you guys to sign for me to join. And they were like, nope.
Really?
Absolutely not. So
that's so funny.
They did.
You walk through the door like, nope. Yep. I see the papers.
It was just a straight no.
Wow.
And although I was indifferent with that decision of them at the time, I know now that they wanted me to be a young man and make my own decision, and to be okay with my decision. So. It wasn't a big deal because a month later I turned 18 and did it myself anyway. So I had no problem waiting 30 days. But they were supportive and wanted me to be successful. And I was really the first one to step out amongst all my siblings and my cousins to really go and do something different. So, yeah, it was rewarding.
What did they think about the car?
So my parents actually haven't seen my car. I've only had it for a few months.
For those listening at home, Mr. Thomas Wiley parks his a Mustang.
It is, yeah.
Parks his Mustang right in front of his office window.
Not because I want to see it every day, obviously. No.
Right, visible in the window. It's in the same spot every morning.
It's definitely interesting. No, I mean, it needs some TLC. It definitely needs some TLC, but it's fun, man. It's fun. I've always wanted a faster car, and I've had a plethora of different varieties in my life, from hybrid to lifted Jeeps to trucks to SUVs, and now I have a Mustang that, my wife says I drive crazy in, but you can't put a price on fun, right?
Hey, but that's what I like about you.
Exactly.
When I walked in your office, maybe the third time, you had, and I think I was holding like an energy drink in my hand, and you had this mason jar of just straight green substance. And I was like, what is that? And you said, oh, it's what was it called?
It's called Morning Man.
The Morning Man. And you looked at me, and I remember this quote distinctly, because every time I go reach into the energy drink glass door at your favorite gas station, I reach for it and I hear you said, I don't want to be dependent on something, or I don't want anything to control me.
Yep.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there I was sipping on 300 milligrams of caffeine to stimulate my mind and keep me going that day. And I had one this morning too, so obviously it didn't hit me hard enough. But
oh man,
where does that come from?
Yeah, so when I was on my first deployment,
I'd like to point out also that I'm drinking now coffee.
Black coffee. But
sorry, continue.
It's just going to boost your metabolism, man. It's all good.
Just trying to be mentally all there.
But no, so going back to my first deployment, I don't know if you've ever heard of Rippets. I think you can get them at select gas stations.
Actually, fun fact. During my 10th grade science fair, I had Rippets, Bangs, Rippets, Monster, and Red Bull, and I tested them on an eggshell to see which ones like deteriorate the core. And I think Rippets were the least detrimental.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, but I've seen Rippets so my brother's in the Air Force, so he takes me to Fort Lee sometimes.
Okay.
And I've seen Rippets around. That's a pretty big military thing.
Very
right?
popular. Very popular in the military. At least back in the day it was. But yeah, we were like Rippet centric and no dose, man. So like caffeine was and so we worked long hours obviously, and we were doing a lot of airfield operations during the plus up in 06. So we had a lot of people coming through our airfield. But so as it caught on, I got out on recruiting duty and started working more long hours. So caffeine became a huge part of my life. And you definitely don't want to stay on that path. But no, so I was looking for other alternatives.
We have a live audience that's trying to break in to see the episode. Continue.
It's that exciting, right?
Is that Thomas Wiley?
No, so I was looking at other alternatives because, I don't want to be dependent on something, whether it's caffeine or anything else. So I'm not always successful in overcoming that. But no, so I found this drink called Morning Man.
The Morning Man.
The Morning Man. They did a phenomenal job on the advertising.
Relatively affordable.
Sure. I mean, if it's $70 a bag, it's not bad. So it comes out to about $70 a month. But no. So it's got all your vitamins in it. It's got a small little bit of caffeine in it, and it tastes great. It looks like sewage water. I'm not even gonna lie. Look, you've seen it, right? So,
but it's great for your insides. This episode is brought to you in part by The Morning Man.
The Morning Man. You gotta check it out. The advertisements in a website alone.
Use promo code RWC for 10% off your next monthly purchase. No, but I mean, obviously, I don't understand that long grind in the military, but that you just were drinking a rip it or two a day, getting you through.
Oh, dude, it was more than that. It was probably 4 or 5. Yeah. 4 or 5. And then, they kept switching up our day and night shift. So sometimes you'd have to go a 24-hour shift.
Yeah.
And even on my second deployment, we were unloading the 3 ships in like Kuwait and Jordan and things like that. And, you would always run into issues. Right. So you're just up. You're up and you're trying to figure it out. And you're like, caffeine.
Did you, obviously not in the moment, appreciate it, but did you almost like start to value that uncertainty? Like, is that when, like, the military is just like always a new thing, always something different? You never know where you're gonna wake up and go somewhere next day, or what was that like?
Yeah, the variance in each day is definitely something that's it kind of grows on you because you, like I said, you get used to, and people around here have heard me say, get used to being uncomfortable. Right? Get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Or get comfortable being uncomfortable, excuse me. So because you sometimes you never know what's coming the next day. Sometimes you don't know where you're going. Like on my second deployment, we were traveling all over the ocean. We didn't know where we were going next. We didn't know what country we were going to, when we were getting off the ship next, until maybe a week out from where we got to where we're going. But yeah, definitely there was a lot of moving parts and a lot of different things that you had to encounter and overcome. So you grow up quick. You grow up quick and you start looking at things with a different point of view. So
I'm sure it's very maturing.
It is. It absolutely is.
I'm sure there's a huge mental toll as well.
There is, but when you think about it, and one thing that I struggled with when I got out of the military was, wondering how I was going to continue to provide the same life that I was while I was in. Because contrary to popular belief, the pay is not bad, right? You get incentives for housing, you get incentives for food, and I was making good money, and I was getting 30 days of paid vacation a year. So you get out and you're like, okay, how am I going to match this? Where am I going to go and where am I going to match this? I have a family to take care of. I have obligations. I can't just stop. And it's stressful. Yeah. It'll take a toll on you if you let it.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you get married while you were in the service? What happened?
Actually, twice. So yeah, the first one didn't work out. I guess I'm going to use the phrase "it is what it is." But I married my second wife right before I got out, and she's my rock. She's a veteran as well. So
oh wow,
yeah, she was in the Navy, and so we have that nice little friendly competition. But yeah, so I got married to her right before I got out, and our family's grown since then too. So yeah,
I'm sure it was something beautiful to have two people that kind of understand the background of both to a way that no one else really could.
Yeah, so it was tough. My first marriage was tough because you're so young and you're trying to figure life out.
Absolutely.
And you're growing into your personality and your likes and your dislikes, and it just didn't work out because we grew apart. But when you're a little bit more mature and you reach your 30s, so to say, I guess, and you start seeing things from a more mature aspect and in terms of your personal life, you start making better decisions.
Right.
And it was definitely the better of the decisions that I made. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome.
But she's, like I said, she's my rock, and she's amazing, man. Some of the stuff that I see her overcome is just amazing. So
that's awesome. And you got how many kiddos?
5. Yes, I have 5 kids.
Wow. Congratulations. That's a lot.
That's a lot, man. It's a lot. My bald spot's getting bigger, and
we can't see on the camera though.
No.
From this angle, you look sharp as a tack.
That's why I like looking in the mirror. Because you can't see what's going on back there. But there's
something in there we can pick apart.
It's definitely It's definitely there. No, I got 5 kids. So 12, 10, 6, 4, and 2. And they are all equally fun to be around. Let's just say that.
Do you want, I mean, not obviously do you want that for them, but have you almost introduced the idea of maybe one of them joining the military, following your footsteps?
So I've talked to my oldest son about it, and he has no interest in wanting to go into the military. My daughter, who's 10, is kind of like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
She's really big on...
Like, whatever, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. She's really big on college and wanted to be a veterinarian and all this stuff. But my other kids are, they're so young that they don't really understand. But I can see my 4-year-old going into the military. He's got a lot of my personality, drive, ambition in him. He'll be 4 in January, but he's already riding around a dirt bike.
Wow.
He's reckless, which I was when I was a kid.
He's a piece of work.
He definitely is. This kid is, he's something else. But, I would absolutely support my kids if they want to go into the military. I would definitely be that protective dad. And as a former career recruiter, would be in that recruiting office with them, making sure that everything went right. But, I think if your son or daughter is looking at the military as an opportunity, you have to respect it in one way or the other. But it's like anything else. You need to educate yourself and get your own information on it. So, but, we'll see. Time will tell in the next however many years if one of them does join.
As soon as they turn 18, you're watching for them to walk in with the papers.
Hey,
all right.
I mean, that's totally cool. Now, I don't know if I'd sign for them because I definitely like the way that my parents approach that. But, you never know. Who knows?
And then, so present day, you're here at Richmond Window. I mean, I think the key to what you do is just being, like you said, just connecting with people.
Yeah.
Being able just to get in their headspace, encourage them to pursue things that maybe they don't know they want to pursue, or maybe that you help them find the path.
Yep.
What has that military background, how has that carried over into your current position?
Yeah, I would say, going through, my first enlistment, my first 4 years, doing 2 deployments. I mean, I was in Iraq by the time I was 19. So, having the opportunity to see the worst that the world has to offer. But then also going in, becoming a recruiter and being able to connect with people on a specific level, because you got to think you're offering an opportunity to, potentially lay your life down on the line. But going back to present day, I took my communication skills and what I learned in the military as a recruiter and have brought that to what I do today. So we have a very unique style of recruiting. We don't, when we look and review our resumes, unless there's some underlying issue and why we should not call this person, we're calling everybody.
Yeah.
Because the resume only tells a certain percentage of the story.
Yeah.
So we want to give that opportunity and get to know who's interested in our business, in our company. So Vanessa and I are on the phones. I mean, if you look at our calendars, it's just nothing but phone screens.
Yeah.
And that's because you never know who you're going to come across. You never know what that ambition is going to look like, how motivated they are, what their drive looks like, why they're applying.
Yeah.
And if you just click deny on somebody based off of a resume, you'll never know.
Yeah. I think that's a lost art.
It is. It is.
A lost mindset.
And it carries right into, what we want to achieve here as far as being able to maintain the culture that we have here at Richmond Window is we are such a team-based company and a family-based company. I want all of our candidates to get that feeling whether they get selected for a position or not. So if it's myself reaching out to them or Vanessa reaching out to them, we want to give that same kind of care. That champion care, let's go back to
absolutely wherever that
exactly
core value piece of paper went.
That champion care to our candidates too, because they deserve that. So
here it is.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me put this back on the table. There we go. It's probably not even going to show up on the camera. No, but absolutely. Wow. And I'm trying to think, what is something that, like, if you could pick 3 things when you're hiring a new candidate that are most important to you to see or to just feel?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm big on the motivation aspect.
What drives them, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What drives them, because when you can look back on your past, as I do often, like I said, I've made plenty of mistakes. I've overcome odds that were, against, a lot of people were against me and, didn't think I could overcome certain things. But when you see that in a candidate, whether it's events in retail or customer care or lead development, you see that drive and you hear that, you can hear it in their voice. I mean, it's, that you gotta continue to pursue this guy or girl, because they're going to continue to bring the same thing that we all have here at this company. And that's just the drive to be ambitious, right? And to be successful. And that's who we want. Yeah. So, it really takes listening with purpose, being able to, build rapport with your candidates. You can't jump on the phone, just ask 5 questions and get off the phone, because it's, who wants an impersonal conversation with a candidate or recruiter? The motivation, their drive, how they've approached certain situations in the past based off of their experience. You always want to ask those questions because, sometimes in different work environments, you find yourself approaching a situation that you didn't handle the right way. So we're looking for honesty there, so more times than not, 99% of your population that has worked before has run into a situation that they've been uncomfortable with at work. How did you handle it? Tell us how you handle it. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, but, that lets us know that you can overcome, specific things in the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I always ask about culture. What are you looking for in the culture that you're, can potentially be a part of at your next employer? And it's amazing the amount of people that tell me what the culture is like here based off of reviews and things that people submit for us online. Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. And that also lets me know that they've done their research on this company and they're serious about what they're doing. Yeah. So if you do that with every candidate that you get, you're going to recruit people. You're going to hire people. And it's an amazing feeling, man. It's an amazing feeling.
You and Vanessa do a phenomenal job. I remember when I was applying, obviously I knew nothing about windows and doors. And, having an ego, I was like, man, I want to work on I want to be in a creative agency. I want to do the next big thing. And the window thing didn't seem very appealing to me. And I was like, all right, well, he wants to call. He's had crazy initiative. He really wants to talk. And I was like, you know what? Let's just hear what he has to say. And what got me was how much you cared. And how much you were just like, hey, Steven, how you doing? Yeah. I was like, oh, Dad? Yeah. You were just so personable. And I was like, okay, even though I don't necessarily know anything about Windows or it's not flashy or it doesn't validate any like big dreams I had. Yeah. The people there seemed to really be so ambitious and caring. I was like, all right, I have to.
Yeah, I think you made a great point there because, you're looking at this from the scope. Before talking to me, you're looking at this scope like, why would I go here? Yeah. What is this all about? Yeah. And, so naturally, if you think in terms of just communication, Steven's, your defenses were up a little bit, right? Yeah, so absolutely. I'm going to call you and I'm just going to be myself. And I'm going to try and lower those a little bit and see if we can get this thing moving.
What was your strategy for lowering the defenses with me?
If I can remember back, because I talked to so many people, just starting off with a conversation, not jumping into business too quickly, Tell me a little about what you do. I as a matter of fact, I think we got into that driving force with you too, what motivates you. And then, once you start, that communication opens up a little bit, you start saying, okay, hey, tell me why, you might be interested in this position, or, tell me a little bit about your professional experiences. And that's how you move the conversation along. But yeah, it's I don't want to say it's an art form, but you definitely got to have a passion for the position.
100%.
To keep people engaged on the phone.
That's so funny. No, yeah, I was blown away. It was super good.
And we appreciate that. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on the phones. The majority of our time is spent on the phones. And it's such an important piece of what we do. And that's one of the reasons that I brought Vanessa on the team, because, we worked with each other in the past, but she's such a natural.
Yeah.
And just being able to have that care behind her voice and that passion, just as I believe that I'm effective speaking to these candidates, she's just as effective.
Yeah. No, you guys are a dynamic team.
Appreciate that.
And you recently won the Core Value Hero.
Yes.
Much deserved.
Yes, thank you.
And I think the one thing I notice about you the most is every time I interact with you, you're always positive. You're always uplifting.
Yeah.
You're never like, it's never about you. It's always about the person you're talking to. And I think that makes an excellent talent acquisitor.
Appreciate it.
But how do you, it begs the question, like, how do you continue to stay positive?
Yeah.
Like what's the driving force?
No, it's
especially with the career you've had and the different vocations you've had and the experiences you had. How do you continue to walk through those doors and make those calls and then leave in the same attitude, externally? Obviously, I don't know internally, but you always seem to you always represent the company so well.
Yeah, it's that's why I decided to stay in recruiting. Obviously I spent the last 11 years of my career in recruiting duty, and I naturally felt like I was good at it, but I had to spend some time on myself after I got out of the military to overcome some things that were going to spiral me down a bad way had I not dealt with them. So as negative things pop up in everybody's life, challenges, it could be work, family, compensation, bills, whatever. You have to be able to, one, let yourself feel. All right, that's totally important. And two, be able to take time for yourself and just sit back and reflect on why you feel the way you do.
Yeah.
There was a term that was used to me a few years back where, imagine yourself wearing a backpack. Okay. And if you have all these things that are being thrust on you that you're not used to dealing with, and you just say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with it right now, I'm going to toss it in my bag. You keep tossing them in your bag, what's going to happen? Your bag's
pulled backwards off the mountain.
Exactly. Your bag's going to get so heavy that you can't carry it around no more.
Yeah.
So you have to take time for yourself to overcome whatever you might be dealing with in your life. And it's important to do that. Not something that I practiced when I was in the military because, you kind of feel like you have that stigma behind it.
Yeah.
You got to be tough and you got to be strong and you got to be able to overcome, right?
You just keep adding to the backpack.
Exactly. You keep adding to it. So, we're fortunate to work for a company where if you need to take 10 minutes or 15 minutes before you come into the door and just reflect on what might have happened the night before or what you're going through at home or at work, nobody's going to say anything about that. And even Steve alluded to this on his podcast. We did a fantastic group activity. Actually, it was my second day with the company. We did this group activity. So I've done it twice. And I was just blown back by it because I've been so transparent with my struggles that I felt right at home. And it was my second day. I started on Tuesday. This happened on a Wednesday.
Wow. And you felt 100% comfortable.
I did.
Day two.
I did. Wow. So, the second time that we did it, I was like, hey, these cards, we're all anonymous, but I'm going to tell everybody in this room exactly where I've been and how I've overcome it. Because here's the thing, when it comes to being positive every day, you can come in and put a face on, and you can mask up, and and do that. Anybody can do that, right? Yeah. Most people can, but that doesn't solve the problem. The problem's not solved. It's still going to be there. So you never know who you're working with or who you're around. It doesn't matter if it's at work or whatever the case may be, and who you can help. So if by me being transparent in the things that I've gone through can help somebody else through their walk, I'm going to do it. And I think it's important to note that moving forward. And that's why I come in here and have fun. I try to walk around the building every morning and catch up with everybody and laugh a little bit. And that's what gets me through my day and, doing my job, which is obviously I'm passionate about, and then going home to my platoon at home. So
the platoon, I love that.
Or my squad, I should say.
Hey, dude, that's powerful, man. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
What did you feel putting your name on the cards, like as opposed to doing it anonymously? You told everyone. Yeah, no.
So we actually, as we were doing the activity, we were still anonymous, but we were given an opportunity to kind of pass the mic around the room and just, talk about our experiences if we were comfortable with sharing it. And there's a lot of brave people in this company, man. There is a ton of brave people in this company. And one thing that I really loved about that activity was, yes, you can remain anonymous and you don't have to comment on anything, and we respect that. But two is when you can sit in a room and feel the energy from all the positivity coming around the room, and how all these people have overcome all these different things, because mental health is very prevalent in today's society. And it's becoming more accepted, which it should be. Yeah. It's you just know you're sitting back there. You're like, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. When you're supported by a group of people like that at the workplace, you're not working. Yeah. You're doing something else. You're making a difference. Yeah. So it was powerful. It was powerful both times I went through it. And I can't say enough about it.
Hey, just the exercise alone, I'm sure is super empowering, because telling your coworkers that you're going through something, like you almost feel like you're down, or you're degrading yourself. You're like, oh, they're not going to take me as seriously, or they don't think I can handle these everyday lives, these everyday problems. Okay, so we're right back into it. We had a technical difficulty. You can see it on the camera if you're watching on YouTube.
There's some sheer panic.
There's sheer.
Really,
I'm actually proud of how we handled that. So what happened was I kicked the cord underneath the desk, and the whole room shut down, except for the light, which I'm sure will look really cool. But if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow this podcast. Share it on your story. It takes like 30 seconds. Share it to Facebook. Tell a friend. If you're interested in joining the company at Richmond Window, you'll be talking to Mr. Thomas Wiley as it is, and you already know him from this podcast. If you are a returning customer, make sure you're ready for those windows. Thomas, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. This was a treat. And I think especially with the deposition lights, it'll be really cool to watch at home with the family.
You almost had me with this light, because all the other ones I've watched, it's like everybody gets a full room of light.
Well, the lighting was just awful. So you're the first episode to have...
You got a surgical light up here,
pre-planned lighting. I just come in here and I have like a piece of paper. And it's like, Thomas, on July 20th of 1999, you sped down the road in your Mustang at deposition. But Thomas, thank you again. This was super fun. And for everyone listening at home, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, tuning in. We will see you next Friday with Jesse Croft.